Hello and welcome to another For Wales, See Wales with me, Robin Morgan.
Me, Mel Owen.
And me, Will Hayward.
Welcome back, one and all.
How are we?
Very good, very good. I think we should say, in case something massive has happened, this podcast has been recorded a little bit in advance.
A little bit, yes.
Because I am away on holiday. It's my first holiday post-election.
Oh, well deserved as well.
That's
After
exciting.
that excellent coverage of the election, and we will allow you out the country for a couple of days.
Are you a holiday person where you want to go all-inclusive and just drink beer and eat cheese and ham toasties by the pool? Or are you an old town going for walks and explores type person? I already know the answer to this question.
Yes. In my soul, I'm a go explore, see some cool stuff. Since I started working myself, I just want to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it'll be. I think it's going to be boozy.
Is it?
Oh, it's a boozy one. Okay. Oh, wow. So you're going to come back. You're going to need a rest when you come back.
So what I thought would be really interesting today, we alluded to it a bit last week, but understanding what happened in the election is going to be really important to how we move forward. So what I'm going to do is break down some of the details about the data underpinning the election. Because like last week we heard the crazy stats, like, you know, Labour went from like 44% of young people to like 7% of young people.
Yeah.
So should we break it down?
Absolutely. And this is quite interesting as well because we're going into the Makerfield by-election. Very, very relevant right now.
Right. Yes. Let's start with that because I've got some things to say.
Makerfield, not Makersfield.
It's not Makersfield, and producer Daryl has drilled that into me this morning. It's Makerfield.
Makerfield.
Yes.
Makerfield. What are your hot takes on Makerfield, Will Hayward?
Do you know what's just really, really annoyed me about the entire thing? So obviously you'll have seen Robert Kenyon, the Reform candidate. He... When people act like bellends and then say it's because I'm from a working class background,
Right.
Working as like a tradie doesn't mean you have to be like a sexist prick.
Right.
Like
No, you say that. However, whenever I drive a van, there's a bit of me that
yeah.
understands the misogyny.
When I've
Yeah.
helped my brother move, it's like you're up high.
You know?
in a big, powerful vehicle, and the power seeps through.
Does a wolf whistle just come out?
Yeah. Maybe you even get your tits out. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know? It's something overcomes me when I drive my dad's van.
Interesting.
And then the minute I get out, I'm back to being a little woke Wendy. You know?
We should do like a PhD in this, I think.
Yeah, somebody needs to research that.
What was that? Was it the Stanford prison experiment, the Zimbardo? I remember doing this in psychology.
Oh, I did Zimbabwe. Yeah. It was.
So Zimbardo was this psychologist who, I think in the 70s or 80s, did this experiment where he got like 20 participants. 10 of them were randomly assigned as prisoners and 10 of them were assigned as prison guards. And they sort of just saw how the power dynamics took play. And the prison guards were just absolutely fucking vile to the prisoners. And everyone kind of like subjugated it into those
They
pre-existing
were randomly
roles.
allocated roles, but people played into the role which was allocated to them.
Really?
Yeah.
That is so interesting.
Fascinating.
Somebody do a similar one with white van men, please.
Vin Min.
White van men.
Vin-Vin.
Yeah, please.
But I think there is something to be said for it. So maybe Robert Kenyon is actually a good guy, Will.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Stop talking
know.
down to the working class.
I know. I always hate women when I go to the tip.
Sure.
Oh god! Oh, I went to the tip the other day and I nearly cried.
Good tip, Bram.
I just don't like it. It's boring.
I feel
The fuck?
I know. Honestly, my feminism goes out the window so hard. I'm like, I had a canvas thing, and he was like, "Are you trying to put that on the cardboard?" And I was like, "I'm just a woman."
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm just a woman.
I have 2 degrees. Do you know what I mean? But something buckles within me when I go to the tip.
Canvas would just go general waste, right?
Well, apparently so.
Yeah,
I was
canvas
trying
will
to-
be.
I was trying to put it in. Guys, you have
Women.
to come next time.
We were discussing this in our van trip on the
yeah,
studio earlier.
exactly. Exactly.
Do you remember that hottie?
Yeah. That really threw me.
Robert Kenyon.
Yeah, so Robert Kenyon. The hottie, Robert
Kenyon.
Because he had one of the cringiest experiences on
Question time.
Tell us. Go
Really,
on.
really bad.
Rehash it.
Look, I haven't watched the whole thing. I've only watched a couple of clips. But the clip that I saw was a question from a female audience member who said, because Robert Kenyon's the whole thing is like, we've had enough of career politicians. It's time for like a proper working man to be in Westminster. I think sort of similarly to what the Greens were trying to do in the one that Hannah Thingy won, the Green candidate.
Yes.
Where was that?
Gorton and Denton.
Gorton and
and
Denton.
Denton.
These places aren't real.
No. English place names are fucking weird.
Gorton and Denton.
Gorton and Denton.
It's like a disorder.
Yeah. Makerfield. Nah.
No. Anyway, the new Green MP, I think, was obviously this plumber, this working class plumber. That was the sort of the metric there. Robert Kennyon's clearly sort of trying to do that as well. And a female audience member on Question Time said, "I would rather have a career politician as an MP than a plumber who's a sexist," which is like pretty powerful, right?
Big statement.
So he came out and he sort of defended himself and he goes, I don't sort of agree with that tag on me. And then Fiona Bruce started reading things out that he'd said on a sort of internet forums and quotes from him. And then he sort of
the receipts. If Fiona turned up with receipts.
Yeah.
Sexist things, or as he said, alleged.
Well, then he goes, allegedly, and then she was like, well, no, you've admitted you've said these things. So it's like he's had this kind of like, if I say allegedly, it sort of like gets me off the point.
Also, he's misunderstood what the word allegedly means.
Like me and Robin allegedly wolf whistled that woman in our van
Allegedly.
That whole question, though, I think is really important in terms of like, who do we want as MPs, right? Like, I've said this before, like, I think there is something odd about going, I should be the leader of my community. I think it's me.
It's an act of supreme, you can say arrogance or self-confidence, isn't it? To say, I am the best placed person here to make your life better.
And I think the people who think that are never the people who should be it.
Yeah.
And the people who should be it never have the confidence or the self-belief or the access to do those roles. So we'll never get the right people.
It's that thing like within story structure, like the hero's journey, the hero always has to be given the opportunity and initially they say no and then something happens, Star Wars, you were mentioning all the Star Trek bullshit last week. Star Wars, in terms of like Luke Skywalker, doesn't want to do it, and then his uncle and aunt get dicked away.
Which he doesn't seem to really care about that much.
Yeah, sorry, mate. You're only on episode 1, aren't you?
Yeah.
Do you know Anakin Skywalker?
Let's not get bogged down into this. I'm drawing a line here. I sometimes think there should be like a jury service type thing for MPs, where like everyone has to do it for a bit. Oh, it's quite hard. Don't really want to do it.
Yeah, I think it would completely transform our politics if everybody had to represent in some way, shape, or form. And there'd be some people who would be dog shit at it.
Fun though.
Yeah, and you'd have a good time.
Yeah.
But also, wouldn't it uncover some absolute gems? And there are so many people who don't realise that is an avenue for them. Like,
sure.
Are you honestly telling me that Eton is such a good school that it takes absolute average people and makes them worthy of being prime ministers? Or does it just give them the utter self-fucking belief to believe that they could be prime minister and that none of those other people out there couldn't be?
Yeah.
It's just believing you can and who you are. And that is what we need to give other people. So I think there's a massive question as to who should be our MPs. And it's all right to say some people should be plumbers. Do you know what I mean? And what an amazingly skilled allegedly should be plumbers.
He's probably going to earn more as a plumber than he will as an MP.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, I totally agree with the fact that there's some people who should not be politicians, but it takes a supreme level of confidence to assume that, I'm going to be a leader here.
Yeah. And does Kenyon have that confidence?
Well, he definitely has the confidence. One thing I have found a bit weird about this is the fact that the Greens have stood a candidate, but they haven't really campaigned.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's
Why
like
stand? Why not just back Labour?
Yeah, like I have total respect for the position of, no, we're going to go and we're going to try and win it because it's a democracy, that's what we're going to try and do. I also have total respect for the view of these people are a huge threat. Polanski's literally said he doesn't think Keir Starmer should be Prime Minister. We're going to put someone in who we think will maybe drive forward stuff like electoral reform, stuff like that. So we're not going to stand. It's this halfway kind of position.
Because you're going to get a couple of thousand votes, right?
Yeah, and if they lose by a couple of thousand, like, we know how I feel about the electoral system.
And tactical voting, you're not a fan of tactical voting either, right? But there is a time and a place where you go, there's a bigger question mark
I'm a big fan of tactical voting in first past the post because it's the system that you've been kind of made to take part in. I wasn't a fan of tactical voting in like the Senedd election where it was really hard to tactically vote. And you're just as likely to vote against your perceived interests.
I found that really interesting a couple of weeks ago when we were chatting to Dr. Louis about the public perception of it is a horse race, like horse race politics and that kind of stuff. I found that really interesting that we have been basically taught into the fact that like, it's one of two, you're going to either vote for the winner or the loser.
I think that's the one of the advantages of first past the post is that it is straightforward for people to understand, and it maybe doesn't produce the best results, but people can see it in their eye.
Yeah, but I mean, monarchy is the easiest to understand, but it's still fucking shite.
Yeah, you do make a good point. Yeah.
Shall we, talking of elections, shall we have a look at some data?
Love data. Will, I want some data.
Okay, I'm going to give you some Welsh-specific data from the election. We talked about it last week.
Lovely.
Dr. Jack Clarner and the Welsh Governance Centre. Let's talk about who is voting reform. So last week we compared Labour's vote in 2021 to the vote in 2026.
Massive drops.
Massive drops.
Yeah, in all demographics.
Across the board.
Across that board, clean sweep.
But what we're going to do with reform is we're going to compare the general election data from 2024 with 2026 rather than 2021. The reason is, in 2021, reform weren't really a factor in Wales. So it's hard to see, basically, it's just gone up everywhere. In 2024, 23% of men voted for reform in Wales. 23% of men and 17% of women.
Okay, so let me just get that straight in my head. Of the people who voted, 23% of those men voted for reform and 17% of those women voted for reform. Sorry,
in the general election a couple of years ago.
Okay, cool. Jenny Lex.
In the Senedd election we've just had, that 23% of men went up to 33% of men.
Okay.
So a third of men in Wales voted.
Okay.
But that 17% of women only went up 4 percentage points to 21% of women. So in May, a third of men, 33%, voted for reform, only 21% of women. Now, it is crazy unusual to have a huge gender split.
Oh, is it?
With parties. It's very unusual to be more than 3 or 4% for more than one than the other.
That's interesting.
Very uncommon.
Because that it makes sense, but everything I've heard about reform suggests that, the fact that these splits are happening.
It was one of their smallest growth in votes compared to the previous election. And what I think is really interesting is there was 5 percentage point difference between men and women in 2024, but then there was a 10 percentage point difference in 2026. So between the general election and now, Reform have obviously been saying something that resonates a lot more with men than women. And I think you don't have to look far to understand why. Firstly, they're massively overrepresented by men anyway, but they're also their attitude towards abortion, their attitude to things like the Equality Act, which overwhelmingly defends women through securing maternity pay, stuff like that.
But they want to go against the grooming gangs, which is protecting women. Well, they love protecting women, all women, and not just in that one specific case about grooming gangs.
Yeah, and let's be clear, they want to protect them, but not from white men.
No,
not from white men.
No.
Whoa! Can white men be in a grooming gang?
I've heard.
Whoa!
I've heard.
In fact, I'm going to go on a limb and say that grooming gangs are more commonly made up by white men than not. I'm going to Google that right now.
Yeah, I think you should. I would have thought that the majority of sexual assaults in the UK are conducted by white men. But gun to my head, I would make that estimate.
I think you're both talking Britain down right now.
Broken Britain.
This is broken. You are breaking. Yeah.
It feels like the war against men is what it feels like.
Yes. Can't say anything anymore.
You guys are so good at just filling.
No, I'm saying my opinion. What are you talking about?
The ethnicity of offenders has got a lot of attention recently thanks to historical examples of predominantly Pakistani grooming gangs brought into the spotlight by the likes of Elon Musk and Robert Jenrick. This is Sky News. In terms of group-based offences, 85% of suspects are white, while 7% are Asian and 5% black.
85%?
Yeah.
What are you doing about it as people of your community, Will? Call these people out now.
I know. I know.
Robin, very non-white man over here.
I was hoping no one points it out.
Right, back to the fucking data.
Well, if the figures say, but yeah, it's. Can I also say, I just think Reform's general vibe, it just feels very lads, blokes. Even if you don't know any of their policies, which I don't know if you could call them policies, but I think even if you don't know what they stand for, you could get the general vibe that they don't love the gals.
It's Farage in a pub with a pint of bitter.
Yeah, I know we're making light, lol, but I would genuinely be worried if I was locked in a lift with 3 guys and they all told me they voted Reform. Genuinely, I'd feel unsafe.
But I think from a sort of a policy point of view, you've seen in the States, Farage is playing by the Trump playbook, and you've seen how women's rights have been rolled back across the pond. And I think that a Reform government would do similar things.
Exactly.
Can I throw a different scenario? Say you were in that lift with the 3 Reform guys, but what if I told you that they were all high-value males?
I would feel I'd feel sick as well. Because also, don't know any high-value males.
What is a high-value male?
If you have to ask, you wouldn't. You're not one.
Right.
The girls who get it, and the ones who don't. It's, what they call themselves to be like, I'm a high value man.
This is like incel culture stuff.
It's very red pilly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fun.
High value men.
Have I just cucked myself by saying that?
No, I think you've exposed that you don't need to go around spouting that bullshit.
Okay.
To be honest, I think women appreciate you.
Oh, I'm a very good liar. Hiding in plain sight.
The vibes are important, right? Come for me by all means, right? But I genuinely would feel less safe in a lift with 3 men if they told me they voted Reform than 3 men who told me they voted Green. And can Green voters be rapists? Obviously. Look, I don't want to be locked in a lift with anybody, let alone 3 men, right?
Sure.
Who would you be locked in a lift with if you could choose?
What, just individuals?
Individuals.
Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, Sasha Obama. Sorry to the other one.
I'm now the other one.
I am now the other one.
You pretending to be an Obama daughter.
Oh, I would so hard, So hard. I would cosplay so hard as the other Obama.
Who don't even know her name.
I love that she's negging.
I'm negging the other Obama daughter.
So there is only 2 groups where the vote for Reform went down. There was somewhere it didn't go up much. So in people with a degree, it went up from 13% to 15%. Mm-hmm. In 35s to 54, it only went up a couple of percentage points. Went up massively in the over 65s and the 55 to 64s.
Interesting.
What, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It went in the general election, 19% of over 65s voted for them compared to 34%.
Which is what hit the Tory vote so hard, wasn't it? Yeah. It was sort of those migrating over.
The only ones it went down were people who feel more Welsh than British. In fact, interestingly, in the general election, people who define themselves as more Welsh than British rather than both British and Welsh or more British, the more Welsh was the highest in the general election, and it went down. It went down by 5 percentage points to 18%. So 18% of people who felt more Welsh voted Reform compared to 35% equally British and Welsh and 33% British. Okay. So that is a huge gap. And I think it probably defines itself by Reform came across pretty anti-Welsh. A lot of their messaging, didn't they? Foreign language, misspelling the 2 of the 3 Welsh words on their manifesto. Just the general kind of attitude towards Wales, I think, that was illustrated. It was really hard for them not to define themselves as a kind of English nationalist party. And so Reform are doing shit with 2 groups. There's 2 groups that Reform are doing badly with. Women, 51% of the population. Yeah. And people who feel more Welsh than British, which is the largest identity group and the fastest growing identity group.
Sure.
So this is why Reform at the moment have a ceiling in Wales. The people who love them. But most people don't, and they really don't. And if Reform are going to continue with this iteration, it is a kind of black person be Welsh bullshit that we've seen, they are going to stay at 30%. Well, they're not 30%, they're at 29%, but let's give them 30%. They are going to stay at that level. They're just going to stay there because they've given themselves a ceiling. If they want to grow more in Wales, they're going to have to change that position. I don't think from their point of view, they feel they need to grow more in Wales.
No, do they give a shit? Because they've got Jenny Lex now to Locon, haven't they? Are they going to really throw stuff at the council elections in Wales, do we think? Do they care?
Oh, yeah. They'll throw stuff at the council election. Ultimately, the electoral system places that ceiling on them in Wales. It doesn't place a ceiling on them in general elections.
Yeah, sure.
I think we're going to get to a point in the general election, unless the system is changed, where Reform win a majority with 25% of the vote. I think that's where we could end up. Do you want to talk about Plaid?
Please, yeah.
So, Plaid Cymru. In 2021, 19% of men voted for them, 19% of women voted for them. Dead on. In this election, 33% of men, 36% of women. So not a massive difference. But I mean, the women vote had to go somewhere because none of them were going to Reform. The key is, and we spoke about this last week, 51% of people 18 to 34 voted for Plaid. Like 50% of the vote. What I think is really interesting, though, is how the difference between how people feel in terms of whether they feel Welsh or British. So only 20% of people who felt more British than Welsh voted for Plaid. Only 20%. 53% of people who felt more Welsh than British voted for them. So that is their biggest group, is people who feel more Welsh. Perhaps unsurprising. But I think it's also why they could be in a really stable long-term position, because who else is the kind of people who feel more Welsh, who want a government which is perceived as standing for Wales? Where else are they going to go?
Well, this is what I was going to say to you, and I cannot wait for the comment section after this. But, like, is that enough? If I was implied, I'd be like, well, sorry, where are the other 47?
Yeah.
That's not, like,
Genuinely.
yeah, I don't think that's that impressive. I'd be, like, concerned.
Yeah, your whole brand is Wales.
We're Wales more than Britain. Where are they? The jump is impressive. I'll give them that. Like the jump up from, and I know people's priorities and attitudes and who turns out to vote in the general compared to a Senedd are different, but that increase is impressive. I would not be resting on my laurels at 53%. I'd be like, we need to be scoring so much higher in that demographic.
Yeah, agree.
Part of the reason why that'll happen is people don't just vote on their identity.
Sure, yeah.
The lowest group for Plaid in terms of all of these, so they had like degree level, your age, your level of your income, all sorts of things. The thing they did worst in was people who voted Leave. Only 15% voted for Plaid.
Yeah.
Now,
again, I'm surprised it's so high.
but bearing in mind,
yeah,
more people in Wales voted for Leave than to Remain.
Things change. Do you know what I mean? And I think COVID did a massive... I think if COVID hadn't happened, we'd have been talking about Brexit so much longer.
Sure.
And I think it just reprioritised things massively.
You are exactly right. It reprioritised, it reorganised, it realigned the entire fabric of what Welsh politics was. I'm going to show you a graph here. Now, we've shown a similar one before. Darryl will get this up on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So it's basically, you've got to see Welsh politics as in two blocks now. On this graph, the further to the left you are, the more left-wing you are, the more right you are, the more right-wing you are. The further up, the more authoritarian you are, and the further down, the more libertarian you are.
Would you just define those for us quickly, authoritarian, libertarian?
So authoritarian is, let's basically say, strong state, punishment, crime, law and order.
Military spending.
If you're authoritarian, you probably don't have issue with, government censorship in principle, that sort of thing. Libertarian is kind of the opposite of that.
Sure, okay.
Cool. There's two blocks. So you've got the kind of left libertarian bloc, which has got the Greens, Plaid and Labour, and then you've got the kind of right-wing authoritarian bloc, which has Reform and the Tories. The evidence suggested that very, very few people move between those blocs in Wales anymore. So you shift between parties within a bloc, people going from Reform to the Conservatives to Reform, happens a lot, usually only one way. People go between Labour, Plaid and the Greens a lot, but they are not going between the two.
So you're unlikely to go from libertarian to authoritarian, or you're not that likely to go left to right. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So this other graph which we're putting up, we'll describe it now, but it's got a red line and a blue line. So the blue line is the amount of people who have moved between groups within a bloc. So have maybe gone from Plaid to Labour or Labour to Greens. The red line is people who have moved between blocs. So maybe gone from Greens to Reform or Conservatives to Labour.
Okay.
In this election, nearly 40% of people switched parties within a bloc. 40%.
Yeah.
So stayed in their bloc, but changed parties. That's a very steep incline on that blue line.
Yep. Only 7% of people moved between blocs.
Sure. I mean, we talked in the run-up, and then I think it was debunked a little bit, but there was this sort of idea of Labour losing their core base to Reform in a similar way of traditionally Labour heartlands in the valleys voting Brexit in 2016, whereas obviously we talked about that not really being a thing. And this would completely agree with that. The fact that Labour lost a lot of their stuff within their bloc to the Greens and to Plaid, and Conservatives. I mean, they didn't lose too many, but they
didn't have many to lose.
No, but they went over to Reform. Yeah. But if the Conservatives shared half their voters to Reform wouldn't have done so well. So Reform found voters elsewhere, then, didn't they? Yeah.
So Reform got people who hadn't previously voted in Senedd elections. We saw a small but not insignificant increase.
So it was small because we were talking about that in the run up to the election. We wouldn't know. I think I said I'd find it fascinating to know how turnout and how many people actually may have voted for the first time or for the first time in decades. Yeah, it was small.
It went up. I mean, what was it? Just under 52%, and it was what percent in 2021? I think
like 48 or something.
Yeah, I think it was. Let me send it. Turnout 2021. Turnout. was going to be 46.6%.
Round up to 48.
Yeah, there you go.
So but 5 percentage point increase isn't insignificant.
Yeah.
Like and if those people who hadn't previously voted are going to reform, that's
You'd imagine a few of those went to Plaid though with younger people as well.
This idea of Wales being in two blocks, it's the most important way to see Wales now.
Sure.
Is that you've got basically a very split, divided society, and trying to court people in another block is probably electorally not a winning strategy. But what we need to do is not try and win over people from another block. It's bringing all of those people back towards each other. Because at the moment, there's such a competing vision for what success and what we should be aspiring for as a country. If people have such polarized worldviews, it's very hard to have a cohesive society. So actually, although politicians shouldn't be trying to say things which are completely counter to their, values in order to win over other people, because that's kind of what Starmer did to start with when he came in. What people should be trying to do is change the views of people in other blocks, or at least bring them closer, taking down the temperature, stuff like that, I think is really important.
I don't know whether it seemed like, especially in the run-up to the election and watching a lot of the Welsh leaders' debates, especially the ones with audiences, it felt like it was very, very polarised and very aggressive. And from seeing FMQs, the first couple of those, it doesn't feel like the temperature's been taken down at all. It still feels like there's lots of, as the job of the opposition is to call out the government, but it still feels like it's petty, and it still feels like it's a bitchy way to go about your day-to-day business.
And emotionally exhausting as well. Yeah. I mean, there's a massive gap for a centrist movement in Wales, right?
Yeah.
We can see on that first, the blocks image that you showed us.
Bullseyes there.
Nothing in the middle. Mm-mm. Who could come through? Dodds?
Yeah.
Woof, woof.
I'll show you one more thing before we finish. People were asked where you sit on 0 to 10, with 0 being abolish the Welsh Parliament and 10 being Welsh independence.
Right.
So if you're a 0, you are, I want to get rid of Welsh democracy. If you are a 10, you are, I want Wales to be an independent nation.
Great.
This is the breakdown between the two, between all the parties. The more colour they have on the right, the more they're pro-indie. The more they have on the left, the more they are abolished. Now, Reform and Conservative voters overwhelmingly are get rid of devolution.
That's a big old hump on rid of.
Yeah, that's not even. I want to be part of it. We talk about them being unionist parties.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is, and Conservative has a nice little hump in the middle there where that is, status quo unionism.
Yeah.
But big old get rid of the Senedd, which is insane.
So
I'm really surprised. Maybe I'm naive.
So this kind of white line defines where their kind of average point is.
Right.
So Reform voters overwhelmingly just want to get rid of it.
0.
Yeah.
That's on the 0.
They
Get
want it
rid of
gone.
it completely.
Tories pretty strongly, let's get rid of it, or at least roll back devolution. Lib Dems and Labour bang in the middle. But what is noticeable is very, very few Labour voters are get rid of the Senedd. And I would say a decent amount of them are also saying they're not opposed to more devolution or independence.
No, the worm is fatter on the indie side.
Worm is fatter.
On the indie side.
Yeah.
And the Greens are pretty kind of position 5, 6, 7, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, Plaid, most voters, the biggest block is independence, but actually the average is towards kind of 7 or 8. So closer to indie than...
Obsessed with the people who presumably said the Plaid voters who want to abolish the Senedd. There must be a couple, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely obsessed with those people.
Yeah.
But again, super, super divided society.
Yeah. Because you can see that on a UK level as well. You can see that on a global level. How does one fix that? Is it sort of grown up politics? Is it Reen being like? But then are you seen as weak? Are you seen as a weak leader if you're like, I'm not going to? Because this is what Starmer's tried to do. I think on a UK level, he's tried to be Mr. Daddy grown up. He's tried to be Mr. Law and Order. He's tried to be that kind of guy.
Yeah,
the impression's getting quite good.
It is getting better.
Just as he's about to get kicked out. Furious.
It could be irrelevant.
Dreadful. I'm gonna have to start running to try and get my Burnham down. But I think if you don't play the game, if people think Farage is seen seemingly a good leader because he's just firing shots at all sides. So how does one do it in an intelligent way that brings people with you? I don't know.
I suppose, the Rena Corn's job now is to be First Minister to all those people, regardless of where on that worm they lie. But it's incredibly difficult to be a First Minister in a pro-indie, pro-nationalist, pro-devolution party to those people who overwhelmingly wanted to abolish it. Like, that's impossible for him, right?
Yeah, and I suppose, do you try and take a couple here and there, or do you just assume that they're going to steal each other's votes, and then maybe potentially with a restore coming in, that is where that vote is going to go?
Yeah.
I think the equation for Rena Puoff is really simple. It's twofold. You do a really, really bloody good job.
Yeah.
Using the levers you've got, you improve things demonstrably, and then you market and sell and convince and communicate what you have done well. You do those two things, you can make that argument that devolution is working. Like, looking at these things, most people do want devolution.
Yeah.
Like, they do want Wales to have its own democracy. So the majority are with you already. The way that you secure this is by making it work.
So, does it get to the next election where they're like, no, I don't like the Senedd, but do you know what, actually, they're done all right, and I feel like, I can feel it in my pocket, actually, and those waiting lists have gone down, so say what you will, don't want independence, but he's got my vote.
Yeah.
I don't know what voice that was at all. That was my white band man
impression
coming
of
back
Will.
in.
Yeah.
That's
The answer to all of politicians' issues is do a good job and communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, well, hey, Welsh politics, solved.
Done. No more episodes. Goodbye forever.
Au revoir. Great ep, guys. See you next week, is it?
See you next week.
Yes, we will. If anything major has happened, we apologise. I was on the continent.
On the continent. And we'll dissect Makerfield and what it means for Wales as well.
Yeah, because this will go out on the day that people are out voting.
In Makerfield.
Very exciting.
Listening to this in their ears as they're doing it, I should hope.
So best of luck to all the candidates.
Absolutely. They're going to play that in the count.
You can take the boy out of the beeb.
I love balance.
Loves it. I am Mel Owen for Balance.
I am Robin Morgan.
And I am Will Hayward.
Bye.
Have a lovely time. Goodbye.